Hi everyone, this is Ginger Balch from In Sheep's Clothing, welcoming you to another episode of Focus on Fiber. Today we are going to figure out all those complex cables, or what looks like complex cables, but they really aren't. I have a couple samples here to show you. You can see we have some beautiful little moving stitches here. They're not quite cables, but, well, technically they're a cable, but they're a little more open than what you see like here as your traditional cable. These are also some traveling stitches that are done the same way as if you were to do a cable. So here's your traveling stitches right here. You can see how they go from side to side. And then here's kind of like your honeycomb cable. And again, you have traveling stitches this way. And then here's what we kind of typically think of as our very, very simple and basic cable, which is something that we're going to try today, and a few other little cable stitches as well. Now, this little beautiful shawl here also has some beautiful center cables. And you can see that the way that this shawl was started was, it was at the top, started out with a single cable and went down, and then as the shawl increased in size, so did the cables, and they started to split in half, and you have more cables there. So that's a little bit more complex, but once you know your basic cabling, this would become a piece of cake. So let's get right into, and then I also have just these little mittens here to show you a few different types of cables that you can do too. See how they more like a horseshoe look. And then also we have these traveling stitches that that are basically cables too, and give you a little different look. So when you go to do a cable, what you have to do first is you kind of you set up your cabling. So what you have is your cables are done for the most part on a stockinette backing or a base here. So there's my stockinette, and then you usually put 1, 2, or more purl stitches in between. And what that does is it frames your cable stitches. So right now what we're going to do is, I've created, by having the purl stitches, I've created the frame for a 6-stitch cable, a 4-stitch cable, and I believe another 6-stitch cable here. So these are our tools that we use for cabling. There's these type of a cable hook. This type here, this is a little bit bigger for heavier yarns. And then there's cable needles like these that are also different sizes, but you can see they're a straighter needle. Myself, I happen to like to use these. I'll use pretty much anything that's straight for a cable. I also like to use double-pointed needles. I always have a double-pointed needle around, so I will use one of those. So to start our cable, what we do, and once you see this, you're going to say, wow, all this time I thought it was so complicated, and it really isn't. So I start with purl 2 stitches. And then when I get to my stockinette, what I'm going to do is I want to create a right-leaning cable. So I take my cable needle, and purl-wise I'm going to pick up 3 stitches off of my left-hand needle, and I'm going to take that cable and put it to the back. Now I'm going to take my yarn, and I'm going to continue to knit across those remaining 3 stockinette stitches. So there's my 3 stitches. And now I'm going to take my yarn, put it behind the cable needle, and I'm just simply going to knit those remaining 3 stitches on the cable needle. And you kind of have, you're twisting it. So I knit those 3 stitches. And it's also going to feel a bit snug because you have just twisted those stitches. And now I'm going to purl across the next 2 stitches. And there's our 4 stitches for our other cable. So again, I'm going to do a right leaning cable, and I'm going to pick up 2 stitches off of my stockinette. I'm going to knit the next 2, and then I'm going to knit the 2 stitches off of that cable needle. Okay, so now I have a much smaller twist there. And I'll purl the next 2 stitches. And the next one is another 6-stitch cable. So I'm going to pick up or slide the 3 stitches onto that cable needle. And again, knit the next 3 stockinette stitches. And then knit the 3 stitches from the cable needle. And finish up by purling the last 2 stitches. So now you will see that that's what I have. And now I'll turn my work, and what I'll do is I'll knit the knits and purl the purl stitches. So I'll start with knit 2 now, and then purl across my cable stitches. Now they might feel a little snug because you've just twisted them, so of course they're going to be a little tighter than your normal purl stitches would be. But I'll purl across those and then knit the next 2, and then purl across those other 4 cable stitches. Knit the next 2, purl 2. Oh no, that's our cable, so I'm actually purling 6. That's the other thing too about cabling is after you've done the cable part, then it's simply knitting and purling the stitches as they are presented to you in the pattern. So now, to get the length of your cable is determined by how many rows of work you do in between them. So we've done 1, so let's do 4 rows in between. So we won't be doing any more cables now until we've done these 4 rows. So we're just gonna, and now that cable row, those stitches will feel much easier to knit because we've gotten past that twist. And also as we work this, our cable will look much more like a cable. Well, it actually won't really look like a cable until we do the next twist, because that will kind of close up the cable and make it look like an actual cable. Tried not to make this too long of a piece to get across. Now you can also alter, like we're going to do 4 rows in between the cables. You can do 6, you can do 8 rows. You can really change things around as you go, creating different lengths of your cables. Totally up to you. If you want short or long cables. And then the next row of cables that we'll be doing, I'll be doing another right twist cable. Well, maybe I'll do a right twist for a couple cables, and I'll do a left twist just so that you can see what that looks like as a variation. Okay. Actually, maybe what I'll do, just so that we can really see, is I'll do a little short one here, and we'll do another twist. So it'll give us a short cable, but you can see the twist. So again, we're back to purling 2, and we're going to take our cable needle and put those stitches, this is a 6-stitch cable, so we'll take 3 stitches and put them to the back. Knit the next 3, because this will be a right twist, right leaning cable. There we go. And then purl 2. The next one's a 4. So we'll put 2 to the back. And then knit the next 2. And then purl 2. And then we have another 6-stitch cable, so take 3 to the back. Go. And knit the next 3 stitches. And then 3 off the cable again. You get into a rhythm with it once you get going. There we go. Okay, so now we've created that twist. Let's do one more row, and then you'll really get to see what that cable looks like. Okay, so now, see the stitch there, a little bit tight. But you do want to make sure that's kind of snug, because you do get this little gap where the twist happens. So you don't want it to be really open. Okay, so now you can see our nice cable twists. So these are a little shorter, but we can make them longer if we want to. And we'll do a couple more rows, and then what I can do is we'll do the left twist. Once you know how to move your stitches around, you can create the traveling stitches. And you can do any combination, any numbers of stitches that you want. You can go from 2 to 6, 8 stitches. It's a much bigger bigger twist, but you can certainly do that. But that didn't look too hard, did it? I mean, you're really just moving the stitches from back to front, and then I'm going to show you back, and then, you know, front to back as well. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to show you twisting it from the left to the right. So our 2 purl stitches, and now what we're going to do is we'll take our cable needle and we're going to take those stitches, the first 3 stitches of our 6-stitch cable, and instead of putting it to the back, we're simply going to hold it to the front. We'll knit our next 3 stitches and then knit those knit those front 3 stitches. You do have to kind of hold on to them because they are snug and they do want to slide off that needle. There we go. Yeah, because I just dropped a stitch in the process of doing that. So let me show you how to fix that. So I'm going to pick up those stitches, and I have a dropped one here that I'm just going to pick up and re-knit it. There we go. Just carry it up. All right, let's try that again. So I'm going to put those stitches back on the needle. I still have one twisted. That's what's going on. One's still twisted. There we go. Okay. It's just a matter of rearranging the stitches back on the needle. Not a big deal. Okay, so now let's do that again. So the 3 stitches are held to the front. And we're going to knit the next 3 stitches. Okay, and now we'll knit those 3 stitches from the front here. There we go. And then we're going to purl the next 2 stitches as usual. And then slide the next cable is a 4-stitch cable. So we'll just slide 2 stitches to the front and then knit the next 2. And then knit the next 2. Purl 2. 3 are 6-stitch cables, so we're going to take 3 stitches, hold those to the front, knit the next 3, and then knit those next 3 stitches off the cable needle, and then purl 2. And so now we have our left leaning cable. So if you can see how these cables lean to the right, and now these are going to the left. A little more visible once I do the next row. So I'll do that, and then you can really see it. And again, just following the stitches that are already there, the knits and the purls. So the only part that's, ever so tricky is just twisting those stitches. And you saw how simple that is. So cables are really not complicated at all. There we go. So now you can see that a little bit better. So we've got a cable that's going to kind of like create an S shape like that. And now this is going to go the other direction. And let's just do another row of this then. So again, just following our stockinette and our stockinette stitch here. But it keeps the knitting very interesting, that you're just not knitting and purling, you're moving things around, and you're kind of watching how things, you know, how those cables are progressing. And what we can even do is, sometimes you can not twist a cable for a while, and you have different lengths, like steps and stairs of the cables. And that creates an interesting look as well. Okay. And by putting those pearls, you can see how that really helps. If you don't put the pearl stitch, you're not really going to see the full benefit, the full effect of the cable, because that creates that little frame. See how it kind of pushes in, and it kind of pushes the cable out to the front. Because if you didn't have that there, the cables would just be laying on top. I mean, sometimes you can, that is part of the pattern, and you can do that. But most of the time when you're seeing cables, you are seeing the purl stitches in between to help put those cables out to the front of your work. So let's see, now we can do another twist here. And then you will be an absolute cable pro. We can switch it up a little bit. And this one, let's see, we just finished doing a left cable, the left facing cable. Let's do another one here. So again, we take our 3 stitches, slide them onto the cable needle and put it to the front of our work. Knit the next 3 stitches, and then knit those 3 stitches from the cable needle. And then purl the next stitch. Actually, you know what we'll do is we're going to skip that center one and not do a cable on this row for that cable. And that will be a longer stitch. And then the next one we'll do again another left leaning cable. So the stitches go to, the first 3 go to the front, knit the next 3, and then knit those stitches off the cable needle. And those last 2 purl stitches. And then just one more row of our stockinette, working the stitches that are presenting themselves to us. There we go. So now the next time that you see that cute little cabled hat pattern or pair of mittens, you won't be afraid to give the cables a try. You'll be able to do them yourselves. So now I'm just going to knit across this row, and you can see what happened with that last set of cables that we did. Okay, here we go. So you can see now that this is going to give us a little bit different patterning. We have our cable on this side and our cable on this side, and see how now we could maybe, the next time we did a row, is maybe do a cable twist in the center here, and it'll give us a longer cable in the middle with our side cables that will both be the same. But that's it. That's all there is to cabling. Nice and easy. And I'm sure that you can just give it a try yourself. And I'm hoping that you will pick up the needles and give it a try yourself. So I'd like to thank you one more time for spending time with me and exploring those twists and turns of cable stitches. And now that you see how simple they are to create, I know that you'll just want to give them a try yourself. Thanks again for watching, and please be sure to keep a focus on fiber. See you the next time.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.